Your future self is begging you to watch this. That sounds dramatic, but what if it's actually true? Because somewhere in your future, there's a version of you living with the results of what you're doing right now. Not just your biggest decisions, your smallest ones, the habits you repeat, the standards you tolerate, the excuses you keep making without realizing what they're costing you. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Most people think their future is something that simply arrives with time. They assume one day they'll become more disciplined, more successful, more confident, more focused. But that's not how it works. Your future is not arriving one day fully formed. It is being built quietly, right now, by the things you do when nobody is watching. And the most dangerous part is this. Most people do not realize they have been building a life they do not want until they are already living in it. That is why you need to watch this whole video. Because each section reveals a deeper truth about what is shaping your future. And the final point is the one most people ignore, even though it changes everything. So before we get to the most important part, you need to understand the hidden force already controlling more of your life than you think. Section 1. The invisible gap between who you are and who you could be. Most people think the biggest changes in life come from big moments. A breakthrough, a life-changing opportunity, a sudden burst of motivation. But here's the strange thing nobody talks about. Your life usually changes long before it looks different. It changes in patterns, in repeated choices, in invisible routines, in the tiny actions you think do not matter. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think their future is shaped by major events. But in reality, it is shaped by the ordinary things they keep doing without questioning. Hitting snooze, choosing distraction over growth, spending money without intention, avoiding the difficult conversation, breaking promises to themselves and acting like it means nothing. None of these seem life-changing in the moment. That is exactly why they are dangerous. No one destroys their future in one day. It happens quietly, repeatedly, brick by brick. But here's where it gets interesting. The exact same rule can work in your favor. A better life is also built in ways that look small at first. A walk, a page read, a hard task completed, an hour spent learning instead of escaping. Small decisions do not stay small when they are repeated. They become identity. And that creates a question most people avoid. If someone studied your life for the last 30 days, what future would they predict for you? Would they say you are becoming healthier or weaker, wealthier or more stressed, disciplined or distracted, confident or uncertain? Because 5 years from now, your life will largely reflect what you learned, what habits you built, and what you tolerated. That means today is not just another day. It is a construction site. Every action is laying bricks for a future you will eventually have to live inside. But the real reason most people stay stuck is coming up next. Before people fail outwardly, they usually fail inwardly because they never force themselves to see where their current path is actually leading. Solution: do a future self-audit. Take a piece of paper or open your notes app. Write this: if I keep living exactly like this for 3 years, then answer honestly. What will likely happen to your health, money, confidence, habits, and relationships? Not what you hope, what is most likely. Then write this: if I improve just a little every day for 3 years. Now write that version. What gets stronger? What improves? What becomes possible? Then compare both versions and circle the area that needs the most urgent change. This works because most people never make the future feel real. They treat it like a vague idea. But once you force yourself to see where your current life is heading, something shifts. And what happens next is even more serious. Because seeing the future clearly is one thing. Realizing what it costs to ignore your potential is something much heavier. Section 2. The cost of ignoring your potential. Ignoring your potential does not feel painful at first. That is the trap. If procrastination hurt immediately, far more people would change. If wasted time came with instant consequences, far fewer people would waste it. If every delay came with a visible price tag, comfort would lose its power very quickly. But life does not work like that. The damage shows up later. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think danger always looks intense, obvious, urgent. But sometimes the most dangerous thing in your life is something that feels completely comfortable. Because comfort rarely announces itself as destruction. It just whispers, you can do it tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes 6 months. 6 months becomes years. Then one day, you look around and realize you are far behind the person you could have become. That is the part people do not expect. Regret usually does not come from trying and failing. It comes from knowing you could have done more and never really committing. From knowing you had time and drifting through it. From knowing you had potential and treating it like it would still be there whenever you finally felt ready. But here's the real reason this matters. Your future self does not need perfection from you. They need momentum. Because small actions compound. Confidence, skills, money, discipline, self-respect all compounds. But before we get to the most important part of this section, there's something most people completely misunderstand about delay. Delay compounds too. Avoidance, excuses, distraction, regret all compounds. And the longer that continues, the more expensive inaction becomes. Most people miss this next part, and it is exactly why they stay stuck. When you delay something important, you are not avoiding a cost. You are choosing a cost. Solution: use the before it costs me question. Every time you are about to delay something important, pause and ask, if I avoid this for another 6 months, what will it cost me? That question changes everything. Will it cost you confidence, money, health, time, peace of mind, self-respect? Name the cost clearly, because delay feels harmless until you attach a price to it. But there is one small detail that makes all the difference. Once you name the cost, do not try to do everything. Shrink the task. Instead of work out, do 5 minutes. Instead of start a business, research for 10 minutes. Instead of fix my whole life, write one plan. Instead of be more disciplined, complete one hard action today. The goal is not to finish everything. The goal is to stop reinforcing the identity of someone who always postpones. Because the moment you act, even in a small way, you interrupt the pattern. And the third point is the one most people completely overlook. Because once you stop delaying, the real question becomes, who are you becoming through what you repeatedly do? Section 3. Becoming someone your future self will thank. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. Not the fantasy version. The real version. The one shaped by your habits, your standards, your discipline, your focus, and your repeated choices. What would they say to you? Would they thank you for finally getting serious? For protecting your health? For learning the skill that changed your life? For becoming focused when it mattered? For choosing growth over comfort? Or would they ask why you kept delaying the life they were supposed to inherit? And this next idea completely changes how most people should think about success. The people who create extraordinary futures are usually not the people who become intense for 1 week. They are the people who become consistent for years. That is what most people overlook. They think success comes from rare bursts of motivation. But the real reason people transform is much less dramatic. They repeat the right things long enough for those things to become part of who they are. They learn consistently. They work consistently. They build discipline consistently. They respect themselves consistently. They take daily action consistently. And this is where most people stay stuck. They keep waiting to feel like a different person before they act. But acting is what creates the different person. Your future self is not asking you to reinvent your life overnight. They are asking for evidence. Evidence that you are done abandoning yourself in small ways. Evidence that you are ready to follow through. Evidence that you are willing to become someone reliable. And the final point is the one most people ignore, even though it is the most powerful. Your future changes when your defaults change. Solution: build one future-proof habit. Choose one area of your life you want to improve. Health, discipline, focus, money, learning. Now choose one tiny daily action connected to it. 10 push-ups every morning. Read 5 pages a day. Save $5 a day. Spend 15 minutes learning a skill. Now attach it to something you already do. After brushing your teeth. After breakfast. Before checking your phone. After sitting at your desk. This matters more than people think. Because when you tie a habit to something that already exists in your day, you stop relying on motivation and start building automatic behavior. Then repeat it for 7 days before making it bigger. That is where real identity change begins. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to improve. You become someone who does what they said they would do. Confidence grows from self-trust. Discipline grows from repetition. A better future grows from daily defaults. And once your defaults change, your identity starts changing with them. That is when your future self finally has a reason to thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you found this content helpful.